Hello everyone, Mateo from Arcade here. Today I want to talk about interfaces, and specifically how to bring your agents closer to your users. Your users may use all sorts of communication channels. That could be WhatsApp, Telegram, email, Slack, plain SMS, you name it, all sorts of things. If your system uses a simple chatbot, this is very easy to implement. There are all sorts of clients that you can use to connect to any LLM vendor, and then you already have what you need. However, if you want to bring a more complex agent, a more useful agent, something that uses tools and maybe tools on behalf of your users, then that complexity quickly scales up, preventing you from scaling your product. I want to show you how to use Arcade to delegate all of this complexity so you can focus on fine-tuning and polishing the specific user experience on any communication channel rather than worrying about auth and how to do proper tool calling from your agent. So this repo is a Telegram bot that uses Grok and Google Calendar to help you manage your events. What you can do is, for example, list your calendars and say, add, walk the dog to my personal for next week at this specific time, and then this other event. It will list the events you can confirm, and it adds the events to the calendar, right? So let me show you my version of this bot. If for now, I have my version of the bot running, the one that uses Arcade. And in the future, I may make the interface or the user experience more agentic, but for now, it just replicates the same interface because I want to show you how to remove the complexity of a traditional, quote-unquote, traditional application. So let me show you how that works. I say start, and I say, okay, I need to auth, and I get the calendar. This is all handled by Arcade, so I'm allowing this to access my calendar. Continue, allow, I can close this. And now I can, well, let's check if that works. That's it. So I have my calendars already handled by this Telegram bot. Like I say, add, feed the cat tomorrow at 7 a.m. And now that's been sent to Grok for it to parse and actually extract the little properties needed to create a new event. And I can just go ahead and confirm this. And it should have been added to my calendar. Let's check. Calendar. Yes. We can actually see some of the sample events that I was using while testing this, but this is the event that was added to my calendar, right? So let me dive into the code and show you how this is done. And I want to actually compare. Here on the left, you have the actual implementation from Reclaimers, and this is my implementation, right? And I'm always keeping the same API, or the same user experience rather, but changing just a couple of things, right? So first I want to note that I'm using a different bot client because I prefer Grammy compared to the Node Telegram bot API, but the interface is almost the same, or the API is almost the same. This here has errors because I actually don't need to use the Google APIs to connect to Calendar. I will do all of that through Arcade. So I just added Arcade here, and I added .env to manage my own environment variables. What else? So okay, yeah, the variables are a bit different. Then I changed some of the types here, like calendar event. I added some of the things to make it compatible with Arcade's responses. I also added a calendar type. Then pending events are pretty much the same. I changed a couple of these maps. He has an auth client. I don't need that, so I just say connected accounts so that these can actually handle multiple users. But then everything else is pretty much the same. So let me actually go and highlight the differences. So this is the same, result calendar ID, that's all the same. Build accounts, format reply, fetch calendars. Okay, so this is the first important difference, right? Here, I use Arcade, a specific tool. I use the list calendar tools to just get this instead of building a calendar client. So I just use my global Arcade client to do that instead. And then this is the part that uses Grok, and that's all the same, Add event to calendar. Here as well, they create a new calendar client, calendar API client, and I use the same client, and I call a different tool, which is called create event. So that is being sent now to Arcade, and through Arcade to Google Calendar. Then what else? These are the messages. Okay, of course I added auth Arcade function that has the same scopes needed, and this will handle the auth, right? In their implementation, auth is handled here. So let me show you. You need auth to callback, and you actually need an Express.js app to actually have this running as a server and replying to the OAuth flow. I don't need that. So all of these, and even having like the actual app, I can just forget about it and handle it with this one function, right? So the complexity here is removed. I don't need to implement auth. I can just delegate that to Arcade, right? The rest is very similar. All of these specific commands are handled pretty much the same. The only main difference is that their bot is bot send messages, and I use bot API send messages, and that's it. That's pretty much it. The callback is also a little bit different because I use the other client. That's here. But the code is very similar, right? So the way I get the action is a bit different, and that's it, right? So I remove some of the complexity. It's not very dramatic. I reduced maybe 50, 70 lines of code out of this, but importantly, I reduced the complexity. I don't need to maintain OAuth client right now. I can just literally call Arcade and say, authenticate this person. And they decide whether they want it or not, right? I don't need to handle all of that complexity. If I wanted to implement this on WhatsApp, I don't need to implement a new auth flow in the specific language required by WhatsApp or whatever, right? I can delegate that to a specific API call and don't worry about this specific thing, right? That's it for today. If you want to try this out, both the original version and my version of the bots are linked down below. For the original version, you will need to create a Google app and then handle all of the auth. And for my version, you only need to create a new Arcade account. That is also linked down below. And I want to also hear from you. As we move into this agentic world, what kind of interfaces are you excited to see? What kind of interfaces are your users excited to see? And as always, happy building.